Imagine finding a book written more than 600 years ago, filled with hundreds of pages, thousands of carefully written words, beautiful illustrations, detailed diagrams, and yet not a single person on Earth can read it. For centuries, the world's greatest cryptographers, historians, linguists, codebreakers, and even modern artificial intelligence have all tried to unlock its secrets. Every one of them has failed. The book you're about to see is real. It exists. You can even visit it today. But nobody truly knows what it says. This is the extraordinary mystery of the Voynich Manuscript. In the rare books collection at Yale University's Beinecke Library sits one of the most mysterious books ever created. At first glance, it doesn't look dangerous. Its pages are made from ancient animal parchment. Its ink has survived for centuries. Every page is filled with flowing handwriting that appears consistent from beginning to end. Whoever wrote it was clearly skilled. The symbols follow patterns similar to real languages. Words repeat, sentences appear organized, nothing looks random, and yet no known language on Earth matches what is written inside. For over a century, experts have asked the same questions. Who wrote this book? Why was it created? And most importantly, why has nobody ever managed to read even a single sentence? The mystery became famous in 1912 when a rare book dealer named Wilfred Voynich discovered the manuscript in a Jesuit college near Rome, hidden among hundreds of forgotten books. One strange volume immediately caught his attention. Unlike every other manuscript in the library, this one contained an alphabet nobody recognized. Its pages were filled with bizarre drawings unlike anything found in medieval Europe. Voynich realized instantly this wasn't an ordinary book. He purchased it and devoted years of his life trying to uncover its origin. Ironically, the manuscript would eventually become known by his own name, the Voynich Manuscript. But even Voynich himself never discovered its secret. As researchers slowly turned its pages, the mystery only grew deeper. There were plants, but most didn't resemble any known species. There were stars, constellations, and strange circular diagrams that looked almost astronomical. Some pages showed mysterious castles, others showed dozens of women bathing in green liquid connected by impossible-looking pipes. Then came pages that looked like medicine, followed by pages containing hundreds of unidentified herbs. Nothing seemed to fit together. It was as though someone had combined astronomy, biology, medicine, alchemy, and an unknown language into one impossible book. Naturally, many believed the answer was simple. It had to be a secret code. After all, throughout history, kings, military commanders, and scholars often encrypted sensitive information. Perhaps the Voynich manuscript was hiding dangerous scientific knowledge, or forbidden discoveries, or even royal secrets. If that were true, someone, somewhere, must have known how to read it. But if they did, that knowledge disappeared centuries ago. For decades, researchers could only guess how old the manuscript really was. Some believed it was created during the Renaissance. Others thought it was a clever modern forgery. Then, science finally stepped in. Using radiocarbon dating, scientists carefully tested the parchment itself. The results stunned historians. The animal skin used to create the manuscript dated to approximately 1404 to 1438. The book wasn't modern. It wasn't Victorian. It wasn't a recent fake. It truly came from the early 15th century. That single discovery changed everything. The mystery had suddenly become far more real and far more difficult to explain. If the Voynich manuscript was genuinely created over 600 years ago, who wrote it?
How did its unknown language remain completely undeciphered for centuries? And why do its illustrations show plants that don't seem to exist anywhere on Earth? Once scientists confirmed the manuscript was over 600 years old, the next question became even more fascinating. What exactly was inside it? Researchers carefully photographed every page, every symbol, every drawing, every tiny detail. What they discovered only made the mystery deeper, because the book didn't look like a diary, or a novel, or a religious text. Instead, it appeared to contain several completely different books, bound together into one. The first thing everyone notices is the writing itself. Thousands of strange symbols flow across nearly every page. At first glance, the script almost feels familiar. The letters repeat in recognizable patterns. Words appear with natural spacing. Some words are short, others are much longer. Certain symbols always appear together, almost as if they follow grammatical rules. To experts, this doesn't look like random scribbles. It behaves remarkably like a real language, and that's exactly what makes it so difficult to explain. Over the last 100 years, cryptographers have compared the manuscript with Latin, Greek, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, ancient Egyptian, and hundreds of other known writing systems. Not one has matched. Even the frequency of the words behaves like genuine human language, yet no translation has ever worked. It's as if someone invented an entirely new writing system and then disappeared without leaving a single clue. Then there are the plants, hundreds of them. Nearly every page contains detailed botanical illustrations. Some leaves resemble mint, others look similar to lilies or ferns, but whenever botanists compare the drawings to real plants, something strange happens. One leaf belongs to one species, the flower belongs to another. The roots belong to something completely different. Some plants appear to be impossible combinations that have never existed in nature. Were they artistic mistakes, imaginary plants, or medicines made from combining different herbs? Nobody knows. As researchers turned more pages, the illustrations changed completely. Now the manuscript showed enormous circular diagrams, golden stars, strange suns, crescent moons, and mysterious zodiac symbols. Some pages clearly resemble medieval astronomical charts. Others appear to track the movement of celestial bodies. Several diagrams include familiar zodiac signs, like Pisces, Taurus, and Leo. But surrounding them are hundreds of tiny handwritten notes, written in the same undeciphered language. Scientists believe these pages may have been connected to astronomy, or perhaps astrology, which was widely studied in medieval Europe. But without reading the text, nobody can know for certain. Then, the manuscript becomes even stranger. One entire section is unlike anything historians had ever seen. Dozens of women, many without clothing, appear standing inside pools of green liquid. Some climb through elaborate networks of tubes. Others hold mysterious objects. The pipe-like structures connect one pool to another, almost like an ancient plumbing system. Researchers have argued over what these images represent. Some believe they illustrate medieval medicine. Others think they symbolize fertility, healing, or even the human body itself. But every explanation raises new questions, instead of answering old ones. Near the end of the manuscript, the illustrations change again. Now, individual plants are paired with small containers, jars, flasks, roots, leaves. Tiny handwritten paragraphs accompany each drawing. This section looks surprisingly similar to medieval medical manuals. Could this have been an ancient encyclopedia of herbal medicine? If so, why write it in a language nobody else could understand? A medical book is only useful if someone can actually read it, unless it was never meant for the public at all. As computers became more powerful, scientists finally had a new tool. They analyzed its patterns. The results were astonishing. Words appear with predictable frequencies. Some symbols are almost always found at the beginning of words. Others appear only near the end. Entire paragraphs follow repeating structures, exactly the way real languages do. This wasn't random nonsense. Something meaningful, almost certainly, lies beneath the symbols. The problem is, nobody has discovered the key. By now, the mystery had become almost impossible to ignore. The manuscript looked like a genuine scientific book, written in what appeared to be a real language, yet nobody could understand even a single sentence. So who created it? As the mystery of the Voynich Manuscript spread across the world, everyone wanted to solve it. Professional historians, military codebreakers, linguists, mathematicians, even ordinary people. Each believed they would finally unlock the book's secret. Instead, the manuscript defeated them all, and with every failed attempt, the mystery only became greater. The first and most popular theory was simple. The Voynich manuscript wasn't written in an unknown language at all. It was an encrypted message. Throughout medieval Europe, Kings, diplomats, and military commanders often protected important information using secret ciphers. If someone discovered the manuscript without the correct key, the words would appear completely meaningless. At first, this explanation seemed perfect, until researchers began testing it. Every known medieval encryption system failed. None produced writing that behaved like the Voynich text. Instead of looking random, the manuscript followed surprisingly natural language patterns. It was too organized, too consistent to match ordinary medieval ciphers. Then, another possibility emerged. What if the manuscript wasn't encrypted at all? What if it had been written in a real language that no longer exists? History is filled with forgotten civilizations. Entire cultures disappeared. Languages vanished. Writing systems were lost forever. Could the Voynich manuscript be the only surviving record of one such language? It sounded possible, but there was one enormous problem. Even completely unknown languages usually contain recognizable connections to neighboring cultures. The Voynich manuscript contains none. No alphabet resembles it. No grammar matches it. No historical document references it. It stands completely alone. As years passed, some historians became increasingly skeptical. Perhaps the manuscript never meant anything. Perhaps it was an elaborate fraud, a fake book designed to fool wealthy collectors. After all, if someone filled hundreds of pages with strange symbols, beautiful illustrations, and mysterious diagrams, it could appear priceless, especially during the Renaissance. But this theory also began to fall apart. Creating over 200 pages of perfectly consistent handwriting would require incredible discipline. Every page follows the same writing style, the same spelling patterns, the same statistical structure. For a meaningless hoax, it would have been an unbelievable amount of work, far more difficult than writing a normal book. For many years, people believed the manuscript had been written by the famous English philosopher, Roger Bacon. Bacon was known for his interest in science, astronomy,
and experimental thinking. It sounded like the perfect explanation until radiocarbon dating proved otherwise. Roger Bacon died in 1292. The parchment used for the Voynich manuscript dates to approximately 1404 to 1438. More than a century later, the dates simply don't match. One of history's most famous theories quietly disappeared. Another popular claim soon appeared. Some suggested the mysterious handwriting belonged to Leonardo da Vinci. The idea spread quickly across books, television, and the internet, but historians rejected it almost immediately. Leonardo was born in 1452. Again, too late. The manuscript already existed before he was born. Another fascinating theory, destroyed by evidence. During the 20th century, some of the world's greatest codebreakers examined the manuscript. Experts who had successfully broken military codes during World War II. They failed. Then came computers. Powerful software analyzed every symbol, every repeated word, every sentence pattern. More recently, artificial intelligence joined the search. Machine learning compared the Voynich text against hundreds of ancient languages. Still, no translation, no breakthrough, no answer. Even modern technology could not solve a mystery written over 6 centuries ago. The strangest part isn't that nobody has translated the manuscript, it's that so much of it behaves exactly like meaningful language. Words repeat naturally, paragraphs follow patterns, some sections even use different writing styles, as though multiple subjects are being discussed. The manuscript refuses to behave like nonsense, yet it refuses to reveal its meaning. It exists in a place between language and complete mystery. So if the Voynich manuscript isn't a simple code, isn't a proven hoax, and wasn't written by Roger Bacon or Leonardo da Vinci, then who actually created it? And why has modern science still failed to uncover its true purpose? After more than a century of failed attempts, researchers finally changed their approach. Instead of asking, "What does the Voynich manuscript say?" they began asking, "How was it made?" Sometimes, understanding an object begins long before understanding its words. Modern science would soon reveal clues that medieval scholars could never have imagined. In 2009, researchers performed one of the most important scientific tests ever conducted on the manuscript. Using radiocarbon dating, they examined tiny samples taken from the parchment. The results were remarkably clear. The animal skin used to make the manuscript dated to approximately 1404 to 1438. This meant the manuscript was genuinely medieval. It wasn't created during the Renaissance, it wasn't a Victorian forgery, and it certainly wasn't a modern fake. For the first time, scientists had physical proof that the book was over 600 years old. That discovery completely changed the investigation. Researchers didn't stop with the parchment, they also studied the ink. Its chemical composition matched inks commonly used during the 15th century. Even the pigments used in the colorful illustrations were consistent with materials available to medieval artists. There were no modern chemicals, no synthetic dyes, no evidence suggesting someone had forged the manuscript centuries later. Everything pointed toward the same conclusion. The Voynich Manuscript was authentic. The mystery wasn't whether it was old. The mystery was why it existed. As computing technology improved, scientists began analyzing the manuscript in an entirely different way. Instead of trying to translate individual words, they studied statistical patterns. The results were astonishing. The text follows Zipf's law, a pattern found in many natural human languages, where some words appear very frequently while others are rare. Words repeat with surprising consistency. Certain symbols almost always appear at the beginnings of words. Others appear near the ends. Even sentence lengths follow recognizable patterns. To many linguists, this strongly suggests the writing carries structure rather than random nonsense. Yet structure alone doesn't reveal meaning. The manuscript still refuses to give up its secrets. In recent years, artificial intelligence has become one of the newest tools in the investigation. Powerful computer models have compared the Voynich text with hundreds of ancient and modern languages. They searched for hidden grammatical rules, repeated sentence structures, and possible linguistic relatives. Some systems found small similarities to certain language families. Others suggested possible patterns in the writing, but none produced a reliable translation accepted by experts. Even with modern AI, the manuscript remains unread. Many researchers now believe the drawings could be more important than the words themselves. The manuscript appears to be divided into clear sections, one filled with botanical illustrations, another focused on astronomy, another showing human figures in mysterious pools, and another containing medicinal jars and plants. This organization suggests the book may have served as a reference manual rather than a story, perhaps an encyclopedia, perhaps a scientific notebook, or perhaps something we no longer have a name for. One detail continues to impress researchers. The book wasn't thrown together randomly. Its handwriting remains remarkably consistent across hundreds of pages. Margins are carefully planned. Paragraphs are neatly organized. Illustrations fit naturally beside the text. Very few corrections appear. This suggests the author knew exactly what they were writing. They weren't inventing symbols as they went. They were following a system already understood, at least by themselves. That possibility leads to one of the saddest theories. Perhaps the manuscript was perfectly readable 500 years ago. Perhaps there were teachers, students, readers, maybe even entire communities who understood every page. But over centuries, wars, disease, religious conflict, and the simple passage of time may have erased every person capable of reading it. If that happened, the key to the manuscript disappeared forever, not because the book is impossible, but because its readers vanished. Today, the Voynich Manuscript is no longer treated as a joke or a curiosity. It is studied by historians, linguists, cryptographers, botanists, astronomers, and computer scientists. Each discipline uncovers another tiny piece of the puzzle, yet the complete picture remains hidden. More than 6 centuries after it was written, the world's most mysterious book is still asking questions that humanity cannot answer. If modern science has proven the manuscript is real, if AI still can't read it, and if every major theory has failed, then what do experts actually believe today? More than 600 years have passed. Empires have risen. Civilizations have fallen. Technology has transformed the world beyond recognition. Yet, One handwritten book continues to defeat every generation that studies it. The Voynich Manuscript remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, not because people stopped trying, but because every answer creates even more questions. After decades of research, most historians agree on several important facts. The manuscript is genuinely medieval. Its parchment dates to the early 15th century.
Its ink and pigments are historically authentic. Its handwriting is remarkably consistent, and its text follows statistical patterns similar to real human languages. These facts don't tell us what the manuscript says, but they strongly suggest it was created with purpose. It wasn't random scribbles. Someone invested years of effort into producing this extraordinary book. Today, many researchers believe the Voynich Manuscript may have been a specialized reference book, perhaps a medical encyclopedia, perhaps an astronomical guide, or possibly a collection of botanical knowledge. In the medieval world, medicine, astronomy, herbal science, and astrology were often studied together. The strange combination of plants, stars, human figures, and medicinal containers may reflect exactly that. But until the writing is understood, no theory can be proven. The illustrations continue to puzzle botanists. Some plants resemble real species. Others combine leaves, flowers, and roots from completely different plants. One explanation is that the artist wasn't trying to draw individual plants. Instead, they may have been illustrating medicinal recipes, combining several herbs into one symbolic image. The drawings weren't mistakes. They were visual instructions, a language of medicine that modern readers no longer understand. People often ask, if computers can translate hundreds of languages, why can't they read the Voynich Manuscript? The answer is surprisingly simple. Artificial intelligence learns by comparing information with known examples, but the Voynich Manuscript has no confirmed translation, no bilingual dictionary, no reference text, no key. It's like trying to solve a crossword puzzle without knowing any of the clues. Even the smartest computer cannot translate a language when it has nothing reliable to compare it with. Many experts believe the mystery is not impossible. New imaging technology continues to reveal details hidden inside the manuscript. Artificial intelligence becomes more powerful every year. Digital archives allow researchers from around the world to work together like never before. Perhaps one future discovery, one forgotten document, or one unexpected breakthrough will finally unlock its secrets. History has surprised us before. It may surprise us again. The Voynich Manuscript isn't famous because we understand it. It's famous because we don't. It reminds us that, despite all our technology, human history still contains mysteries beyond our reach. We often imagine the past as simple, primitive, easy to explain. Yet this single manuscript proves something very different. The people who lived 6 centuries ago were capable of creating works so complex that modern civilization still struggles to understand them. Imagine the author carefully placing the final page onto the stack, closing the manuscript, perhaps believing future generations would easily understand every word, never imagining that hundreds of years later, millions of people around the world would stare at those same pages, unable to read even a single sentence. Their name has been forgotten. Their language remains unknown. But their work survived, and perhaps that was enough. The Voynich Manuscript has defeated kings, scholars, military codebreakers, professional linguists, and artificial intelligence, not because humanity lacks intelligence, but because history doesn't always preserve its answers. Sometimes, it preserves only the questions. That's why this mysterious book continues to fascinate us, because every unopened mystery reminds us that the past still has stories left to tell, stories waiting for someone to finally understand them. So, if someone finally deciphers the Voynich Manuscript, it won't just solve one mystery. It could completely change what we know about medieval science, medicine, language, and human history itself. Until that day, the world's most mysterious book remains unread. If you enjoyed uncovering one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, subscribe to Velmyst UK, because our next journey will take us to another real historical mystery that continues to challenge everything we think we know about the past.